The Veil by BLT with Ranch. As a child, I had an imaginary friend. His name was Benny, and we went on wondrous adventures together. I made cartoon drawings of us. My mother hung them on the fridge. She said she was very proud and wished Benny would make drawings too. But after a while, the mind begins to reject the idea of an imaginary friend. I had a big imaginary argument with Benny. He vanished. It was probably for the best. I stopped drawing Benny and started drawing pictures of rivers, oceans, and people swimming. My mother called this my blue phase. My mother hung those drawings in the fridge, but she didn't seem happy about the blue phase. There was a cathartic innocence to my Benny drawings. I grew up too fast for her. My parents grew up too fast for me. My father passed away. He choked to death on a tomato. My mother called an ambulance, but it was already too late. He was gone. In her old age, my mother forgot the entire incident. Doctors called it psychogenetic amnesia, or repressed memory syndrome. The brain sees something so horrible that it rejects the often fuzzy truth and covers it like a veil. In a way, I'm glad she forgot. Watching the death of someone you've loved your entire life, I couldn't begin to imagine it. Years passed while old age took its toll. My mother's mind started giving out. I went to see her one last time, to tell her how much I loved her and how much she meant to me. We talked for a long while. I told her things she had forgotten. She smiled and laughed. I asked if she was afraid to go. She shook her head. "It's okay, sweetie. I'm gonna see Benny now." I gave her a confused look. "Benny? Don't be sad. He wouldn't want you to cry." "Mom, Benny isn't real," I said softly. Now she was the one looking confused. "No, sweetie. I know Benny. I know my son." "Your son? What?" We went to the park overlooking the water. I froze, staring at my mother. My eyes widened to the size of golf balls. At once, I could hear everything so clearly around me. The sound of the monitor beeping away, the rhythmic clicking of the IV pump, and my own heavy breathing. I raced Benny to the middle of the bridge. My mother shook her head. She grabbed my hand and squeezed. Her fingers reached out and held the veil. Her eyes bored into mine and plucked the threads. "He won. I got angry." My mother's voice caught in her throat. Tears started in her eyes, not for herself, but for me. Tears of pity and love. "Darling, don't you remember?" I pushed him over the edge. "Bye-bye, Benny." The veil tore in half. My brother was lying at the bottom of the river, and it was my fault.